unrestricted free agency remains one of the league's biggest unanswered questions of the offseason. In a deep dive published on ESPN.com this morning, our Shams Charania and Anthony Slater break down how and why this Warriors contract standoff is still unresolved here in mid-September. And we're now joined by Shams. Shams, where does this situation stand right now between Kuminga and the Warriors?
George, the Warriors have shown more effort, increased urgency to figure out a solution here, even to the point Joe Lacob, the Warriors owner, went out and sat face-to-face with Jonathan Kuminga in the last month. And Joe Lacob essentially asked Kuminga, do you want to be here? Do you want to be with the Warriors? And Kuminga flipped that really and said, do you even want me? And how the Warriors have showed whether they want him or not. They've structured 2 trade-friendly contracts. We know about the 2-year, $45 million offer, standing offer that's been there since July. It includes a team option, but he's been declining that. And so over the last week, I'm told the Warriors offered 3 years, $75 million. That also includes a team option, which to this point, Kuminga has resisted. And so will the 2-year framework, if Kuminga wants a shorter-term deal, will they be able to improve that 2-year deal? Will it get to a point where Kuminga takes it? I spoke to a source this morning that said this is essentially a situation where both sides know that likely the best-case scenario is a divorce eventually. But in the short term, it might be best for both sides to stay together for the kids, and the kids being a betterment for the team, allowing both sides to get an opportunity to see, can we figure this out? Can this work at least this upcoming season? And if not, it's a tradable contract that they can trade, and eventually he hits unrestricted free agency next offseason.
All right, well, let me ask you this. How much of this stalemate threatens the Warriors' ability to maximize Steph Curry here in his final years of contention?
The Warriors need to get Jonathan Kuminga on a trade-friendly contract, a deal that also is a higher number than obviously the qualifying offer. Because if Jonathan Kuminga goes and signs that qualifying offer, 1 year, $8 million, that has a no-trade clause built in, that significantly impacts how this team, the Warriors, can build moving forward. It cripples their ability in a lot of ways to move forward with team building. You have a number 7 overall pick that you risk losing for nothing if he signs the qualifying offer. And to that end, the Warriors have had 2 aggressive suitors in Kuminga. That's the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings. The Kings have been offering a deal somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 years, $63 to $66 million. And their deal has been around Malik Monk and a first-round pick. The Suns, on the other hand, it's been around 4 years, approaching $90 million. That's been Royce O'Neal and second-round draft compensation. Both these teams want Kuminga to come in, start, give him a player option, play significant minutes. The Warriors, of course, reluctant to just guarantee him all of that. And so far, they've been declining all of these trades as well. So as it's been for 3 months, George, it's about who's going to blink first, the Warriors or Jonathan Kuminga. We're going to find out within the next 2 weeks.
Interesting stuff, Shams. As always, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it. All right. Now joining us here in studio, Tim McMahon, along with David Dennis Jr. will join us here as well. So, Tim, I'll start with you. How have the Warriors handled this Kuminga situation, in your opinion?
Awkwardly. I mean, how have they handled Kuminga's entire career? Steve Kerr doesn't want Kuminga. Kuminga doesn't want to play for the Warriors, in part because he knows the coach doesn't want him. Listen, Shams is talking about there's going to be a divorce eventually. Let's stay together for the kids. I've lived that. I lived with my ex-wife for a year after we were in the divorce for the kids. Let me tell you, it was not fun. There are going to be chemistry issues.
Yeah.
Put it mildly. This is going to be a disaster if they bring back Kuminga. There's SGA. He might as well be HTE, human trade exception. And he's going to be, well, you think he's going to want to pass the ball? You think he's going to want to play team ball? He's going to want the ball. He's going to want minutes. Steve Kerr doesn't think he fits. I wonder what they think they can get that's better than Malik Monk and a first-round pick.
Tim, were you offered $48 extra million to stay in that marriage next year? I mean,
no, but it was a financial decision.
Listen to me. There was some big news in this report that Shams and Anthony Slater put out.
Yeah.
Is that the Warriors had increased their offer to 3 years and 77. It's basically $25 million.
But the player option is what he objects
Still,
to.
in that third year, that's $48 million guaranteed compared to $8. Right. So when we've been talking about this all summer long, it's been $8 million qualifying offer, or basically $24 million a year. So that's a lot less, okay? 24, it doubled. That's $48 million in guaranteed money that he is willing to leave on the table. Forget about the third year. I know that's a big deal, but that's the same average annual value that Josh Giddey just got in Chicago. I understand that kind of stinks, but $48 million in guaranteed money is not something to walk away from when you're a young player. And I understand how awkward it is.
Absolutely miserable.
Right, and
which he clearly is.
Yeah.
Which he look, I know the locker room fits are awkward, etc. But that's why Steve Kerr gets paid a lot of money too, and that's why the veterans on this team get paid a lot of money. And I think the Warriors' stance has always been they don't want to lose him for nothing. Understandably, but they did have chances over the years. Alex Caruso was a guy that could have gone and got. Obviously, that would have helped them in the last couple of years. But to me, the fact that the Warriors have increased their offer, they've given him another year of guaranteed money, that's big.
All right, David, what do you think?
Well, first of all, isn't it kind of poetic that this is the final chapter of the two-timeline fiasco of the Golden State Warriors that they tried 5 years ago, essentially? It was never going to work, and now you have a guy who was part of that two-timeline thing, who was really holding up your offseason and can be a real disaster for your season going forward. Look, there's just absolutely no way that Jonathan Kuminga could be a part of that locker room when this season starts. This is a mess of the Warriors making, of a little bit of that Kuminga fault, and this divorce needs to happen pretty much now, because you do not have, look, I get the Warriors. I understand what the Warriors always want to maximize trade value and don't want to lose this guy for nothing, but you're not losing him for nothing. Moving on from Kuminga allows you, as the Golden State Warriors, to move on with your offseason. You can go and put Al Horford on the team. You can get Melton onto that team, and you do not have to worry about a guy on your roster, in your locker room, who your coach doesn't want there, who doesn't want to be there himself. And it's a toxic situation. It's best for all parties to move on. I know there are financial issues and all that, but if the Warriors want to maximize, truly maximize these last few years of the Stephen Curry era, the first step of that is moving on from Kuminga, cutting your losses, and figuring out what's next.
I also think there's something about getting in the room. And I know the Warriors had been very frustrated throughout the process that they had not talked to Jonathan Kuminga directly. All the communication was going through his agent, whereas other teams like the Kings and the Suns had talked to Jonathan Kuminga personally. And so that was the fact that they got in a room together, that the owner and the general manager, Mike Dunleavy Jr., got in a room and were able to talk to him face to face, I think does help move this thing forward and towards some kind of resolution. Because, David, I'm the opposite. I think he is on the roster when they start the year.
We'll see. This thing is going to be fascinating.
He's been in the room. He's been on the bench. He's been in the locker room. That's been part of the problem. He's been racking up DNPs all last year to the point where this relationship has just gotten so toxic. I just don't see how it even begins to work out.
Yeah, this thing goes way back for sure, but it'll have to come to a head at some point. All right, still to come on NBA Today, Victor Wembanyama is gearing up for year 3. Could the alien do something we've only seen done by Jordan, Hakeem, and Giannis? We'll explain. Plus, speaking of Giannis, he led the Greeks to their first ever basketball medal, but it's what he said afterward that has everyone talking.
I know I've won the NBA championship, but there's no feeling like representing your national team and representing 12 million people. This is
Germany wins gold at the 2025 Eurobasket Games as they took down Turkey in the championship game. It's Germany's first Eurobasket title since 1993. Here's how they celebrated with the MVP. An early birthday celebration for Dennis Schroeder, who turns 32 today. And what better present than a Eurobasket MVP? He adds to an impressive international resume, winning the 2023 FIBA World Cup before taking Eurobasket this year, winning MVP both times. He also led Germany to the bronze at the 2022 Eurobasket. Ramona, does he have a case for the Hall of Fame?
I think he has a strong case, and I think he will get into the Hall of Fame based on his accomplishments on the international stage. Tim Bontemps said on the Euro Hoop Collective the other day, there's only 6 players who have done Dennis Schroeder has done now. Eurobasket MVP and World Cup MVP, and they're all in the Hall of Fame. And so I think Dennis the Menace, get ready for Springfield.
Hey, man, listen, you have that kind of experience and success. You deserve it. So Schroeder took down Turkish star Alperen Şengün in the championship game, who had 28 points in the loss. Tim, what can Şengün take away from this Eurobasket experience?
I think this can boost him and maybe to an All-NBA type of season. He was an All-Star for the first time last season, but it was almost because it was like somebody on the Rockets had to do it. They've got too many wins. Swagger's never been an issue, but he's got more of that than ever. And I think he's also springier than ever. Some of those finishes in Europe were pretty nasty.
Okay, let's go. Let's see. All right, and in the bronze medal game, Giannis and Greece took down Finland to place for the first time since winning the bronze back in 2009. Giannis finished with 30 points and 17 rebounds. He finished second in scoring for the entire tournament with 27 per game. But what shocked people was where he ranked this accomplishment. Let's take a listen to Giannis afterwards.
I've had everything in my life through ups and downs, good and bad. When you're one of the best, players, and I don't talk too much. I like my actions to talk. I like basketball. I don't like being famous. I just like basketball. And sometimes when you don't play well, people talk about you. But this for me, it's almost like a relief because I did it for the country, I did it for myself, I did it for my family, and finally, I did it. This is one of the biggest, probably accomplishment that I've ever accomplished as an athlete. I know I've won an NBA championship, but there's no feeling like representing your national team and representing 12 million people that breathe and live this national team, so this is probably the greatest accomplishment I've accomplished so far in my life.
Whew. All right, so David, welcome back here, David Dennis Jr. Giannis has done a lot of things in his 12-year NBA career. What do you make of what he said about winning the bronze medal being the greatest accomplishment of his life?
First of all, I love this, and this is a reminder of why people love Giannis in the first place. The guy just loves basketball. He loves winning, and this reminds us that this dude doesn't just love winning. He loves winning his way. He loves winning with his friends, with his family, for his country, and this kind of shines a light a little bit to me about why this dude is stuck with Milwaukee for so long. There's been so many opportunities for him to go out and join a super team, maybe go to the Warriors, go to the Rockets this year or something like that and win a bunch of championships. But this dude wants to win with the people he is loyal to. That includes his home country, that includes his family, that includes Milwaukee. Now, will this bear out NBA championship anytime soon? I don't necessarily see that in Milwaukee with him in these next few seasons. But for Giannis, it's just about playing the right way and playing around the people that make him happy. That's bigger than basketball. I just love this clip, and it tells us so much about Giannis.
Tim?
Listen, biggest accomplishment in his career, greatest accomplishment in his career, I'm going to go the 50-piece to close out the NBA Finals. But what you saw there was the raw emotion. That's Giannis stepping right off the floor. I think you also saw Giannis this deep in his career, having been through what he's been through the last few years in particular, realizing just how precious these opportunities to win, to win a trophy, to win a medal, just how precious those are. And he is an extremely loyal dude. That's why he's still in Milwaukee. And look, we've been on Giannis watch for like 7 years now, since his brother Kostas, who, by the way, had a great Eurobasket, was the last pick in the draft by the Dallas Mavericks in the Luka Brunson draft. That's how long teams have been lining up.
I read that in your book or something.
Yeah, there you go. That's how long teams have been lining up, hoping to get a shot at Giannis. If he hasn't left Milwaukee by now, I don't think he's ever leaving. If he's not leaving Milwaukee, it's going to be extremely difficult for Giannis to be in a position to win another championship in the NBA. So, yeah, that was a precious